We are back. Welcome back to another episode of the Extra Point After Dark. I am one of the esteemed hosts today, Mr. P.L. Coulter. And beside me, you know them from last week, the Hit Squad, Mr. Michigan Michael Hasso, and
What's
Miss
up, everyone?
Tasha T. Sizzle. Y'all looking very gold bluish today. That's a really
Thank
good
you.
look.
You see
All
the
right.
do rag.
Right, doing the do rag right. All right, so let's get right to it, y'all. Episode 7 and 8 of MJ's documentary, The Last Dance, was by far my favorite two episodes. My favorite two episodes. Now, before we get into the nooks and crannies of what we witnessed last Sunday, T Sizzle, we'll start with you. What were your overall thoughts on episode 7 and 8?
Well, I mean, I'm resolved in the fact that I know it's been so long since the tragic death of Michael Jordan's father, Mr. James Jordan. But it seemed like Mike was more upset about not winning. Like that's the only time those beige colored eyes teared up is
No, no,
when
we're gonna be nice today.
okay, I'm sorry. It's when he was talking about losing, because that was a very touching uh episode for me because that was Mother's Day, and I haven't cried over my grandmother. She died in 2014, and for some reason on Mother's Day I was just torn up, and I was crying all days, yesterday, Saturday, and Sunday. And so when that episode came on about his father, I was sitting there and I was crying again. And here's old googly eyes upset because they lost. I'm thinking, but it's your dad. That's me. But no, 7 and 8, yeah, yeah. I mean, I know we're gonna get into it a little bit later, but man, now I'm gonna put it out there. Jordan would have to get these hands. He man, how many? Can we say big? How many holes did he cut? Oh, you know,
Old Scotty
Jordan would have to get
Burrell.
these hands. I'm sorry.
um, Before we kick it to Michigan Mike, we want to say what's up to Mini Me, Sasha Denise. What's going on? What's up, Shelton Cannon? Hey, class of '93,
Big
PCH in the
buck.
house. Thank you for joining us, Michigan Mike. Your thoughts on episode 7 and 8? Your overall view.
I think you kind of set it up last time we talked and saying, it made him more human. And
Hmm.
this definitely was making him more human. Both positive and negative, talking about, we'll talk about it later about his bullying tactics. Um, and I mean, it is human to fail in that aspect. He was leading in a different way and he couldn't adjust depending on the different type of players. He could only do it one way, which we'll get to later. But I mean, he also was really torn up about his dad, talking about
Hmm.
how as soon as that happened and him emotionally, he couldn't just, he was very, the way he did basketball was very like, I'm doing this, this, and this. And then when that happened, his mind just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So,
Right, and basically to piggyback off what you two have already said, um, the one thing that these two episodes really humanized him to me because y'all know everybody knows that I've been kind of hard on him for his pettiness and um but can you okay let's just imagine this scenario and you can all can and everybody watching what's up Marcus Stone, make sure y'all check out Unapologetic Hustle on Fishbowl Radio Network. This brother is bringing it. Marcus Stone is doing big things. I enjoy working with him. Thanks for joining. um let's just say you get a phone call and you find out that one of your best friends in the whole wide world, if Tasha, if you called me and told me that Michigan Mike was found in a damn creek, like we ain't talked to him all week, hadn't been able to get a hold to him, you tell me that you found him in a creek, like as a friend, as a brother, somebody that close, you know how devastating that would be.
Hmm.
And then you say, well, wait a minute, Paul, your daddy was in that creek too. Like that's who Michael Jordan's father was to him. It was like his best friend
Hmm.
and his father, his confidant. He had a very, very small circle. He couldn't trust anybody. And
Hmm.
his dad was like one of his main guys. You lose both of them at once. in a world where your circle was already small, your circle of trust. So for him to still push forward and get that title, that kind of put a little in there to be like, okay, Paul, now that is super duper impressive. Just because y'all might as well just go on and throw the white jacket on me, strap me up and throw me in a little padded room, let alone lead a team to a championship. You know what I'm saying? So it really humanized Mike in that regard to me. Now, was there some pettiness in episode 7 and 8? You bet your life it was. But for the most part, I really became more of a fan of him as a man. Just to, I kind of raised up off of him a little bit. Now, with that being said, now Mike, just grit your teeth and get through this part. It's gonna be over soon. When Gary Payton got on there and started talking crap. Now that was the Gary Payton series, wasn't it? Wasn't that the Gary Payton series when he went on Father's Day? Now Gary Payton was locking that ass up.
Yes.
What was it? 4, 5, and 6. The statistics show that. Now when Michael Jordan was watching him on the iPad or whatever, he totally dismissed Gary Payton and said that he was thinking about his father. He was thinking about Father's Day. Do you buy that, T Sizzle?
No. First, remember I texted you and I was like, Gary Payton is a stay ready all-star.
Right.
If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready.
Right.
Jordan didn't want no parts of the glove. The glove kind of a little bit throwed off. He didn't want no parts of the glove.
Right.
And going back to that, to your statistics, I actually went back and I Googled it and I read it. He shot 36%. He had more turnovers than assists, and he was under like 24 points those 3 games that the glove was on him. He wasn't called the glove for no reason, He was putting them paws on Jordan. Yeah. And then, you look at the rest of the team, you talk about Gary Payton, but man, you had the Rain Man on the team. You had Sean Kemp on there. I mean, and he was the second best. So you had Detlef Shrimp. Like, I mean, come on,
Yeah, Nate McMillan coming off the bench.
Right, Nate McMillan coming off the bench, and the team was loaded. I don't buy that from Jordan one bit. Now, Gary Payton was just holding him down. Gary Payton did what he was supposed to do. Like when he said, George Karl, hey, let me get on Jordan. Let me get on him. He put him on him, and you see what happened.
All right, I'm going to stop you right there. No, I'm just playing.
Stop it right there, Mike. Stop it right there.
Michael Jordan, the best. No. No, I will say it might be a little bit of both, just because you can tell by even the warm-ups and things, he was mentally off. Now, I will say I was a huge fan of Gary Payton and just his defensive capabilities. So if there was anyone to slow him down, it was going to be Gary Payton. So I will say it was a mix of both. I wouldn't dismiss him that much. It was definitely a mix of both, though.
Yeah.
Mike, you have a fan and a supporter in Nashville. Shelton Cannon said that MJ is the best, hands down. My hands are up on that. I will not argue with anybody who says that he's the best. LeBron is still, to me, the best pure basketball player I've ever seen. But what?
I'm not. I'm a Detroit Pistons fan, number one. But I was not a Jordan fan when we were watching Jordan. I mean, I appreciated his game, and he was masterful at everything he did. But I was not a Jordan fan. But I still say Jordan is the best.
You still say Jordan was the best, like the best winner or the best player?
He was the best. He was the best everything, because I mean the thing is, like, and we said this last week, LeBron is the best athlete. But condition, body size, freight train gonna run you over. But Jordan just was his will to want to do things. Like Mike was saying, it is kind of both. That man lost his father. It was 2 years, after he had lost his father. That man had a will and determination to do everything. Even when they were talking funky about him, with the baseball. He had a 13-game hitting streak, and then he went down. But what did he do? He went out and he practiced harder.
Right.
So that he could bat better. And had they not went on strike, who's to say Jordan, probably wouldn't have made it to a AAA. I don't think he would have made it to the major leagues, but he probably would have made it to a AAA team. But I just think Jordan is the best basketball player to me. And this is coming from a Pistons fan.
Look, well, alrighty then. Look at Mike just grinning and cheesing. He's like, "That's right. You want to put a cap on it?"
Yeah, I was
Doing
just
the
like,
Birdman man rub.
I was like,
um,
skirt.
right. Like I have no argument against Jordan. I just like to give my arguments for LeBron, but we're gonna digress. Let's go into some of the one of the topics that had me thinking about you two specifically, and that was Jordan's leadership style. A lot was made of the way he motivated players. Scott Burrell, the skirmish he had with Steve Kerr, and all of that kind of stuff. Now, we is there a line to be drawn between bullying and leadership? Mike, you've managed a store before. You had employees under you. What was your leadership style? What was your management style? And could you thrive under a Michael Jordan type of leadership?
So of course, leading different people, you have to do it different ways depending on how they like to be led. And you take tons of trainings and tons of tests to identify those. I'm actually a high D, which means I'm very dominant driven. Like you give me a task and I do it. So yeah, look, Michael would work for me. Like saying, no, I don't like it. Do it again. I'm like, okay, I can respect that. I'm gonna do it again. But some people are like, they get their feelings hurt and they're like, I don't like how you talk to me that way. That's disrespectful, this and that. And they bring in the feelings into it. Some people want to see the stats break down and say, well, let me show me where my stats are wrong when I shoot my way, and then I'll shoot your way and see if it works. Like it's just different things. I think he didn't really have that training, so he only knew what worked for him. So that's how he tried to show. He tried to lead by example, but also lead by his voice, and it honestly worked for him. So why change it? And that's probably what he saw.
Okay, so if it's not broke, don't break it. In the words of Lil Wayne.
Exactly.
All right, Tasha. Now we go back 30 years. Although we don't look like we could even know somebody that long.
Hey.
We go back 30 years, and even back in our puberty days, you was one that didn't take much lip off anybody. Fast forward to
You
about
don't
5 minutes
say.
ago,
I was like, Tasha, nah.
didn't take much lip off nobody. Fast forward to like 5 minutes ago, still not taking no lip off a nary soul. Tasha, how would that leadership style would have worked for you in that regard?
Like I said, it could not have worked for me because it's on so many holes you gonna call me. Yeah, But I mean I understood it. Like you're not gonna hit me in my chest. That's number one. You're not gonna put your hands on me. Like I said, Jordan would have had to get these hands. We'd had to step outside, or it would have been some furniture moving. Something would have been going on. But Jordan, as great as Jordan was, his success depended on how well they played.
Right.
So in that instance, I don't blame him for doing it. I mean, you look at what's his name? It's plays at Miami Heat. They used to play for the Chicago Bulls and the 76ers. With the wild hair. It's on the tip of my tongue. He played for the Bulls, then he went to the 76ers.
Oh, Noah.
No, and now he's in Miami. Jimmy Butler.
Oh, Jimmy Butler. Okay.
Jimmy Butler had so much funky talk for everybody who's on his team. He's trying to motivate them because Jimmy Butler is going to get out there and kind of be like Jordan. He's not going to tell you to do something that he's not going to do. And Jordan was, Jordan worked hard for everything he did. And I think he just really wanted the rest of the teammates to step up and get to his level because he, at the bottom line, Jordan wanted to win. He wanted to win by any cost. If he had to call you a sorry for the language, if your mom is listening, he got to call you a bitch. If he got to call you a hoe, you gonna get out there and shoot these free throws.
No, my mama called somebody that on customer service line today, so you good.
Dang. I mean, I guess the question that comes up is, I mean, because football that happens all the time, even in practice. I mean, you see it on Hard Knocks and people, against each other on practice fields, but it happens on the same field. It happens on high school fields. So do you think basketball is just maybe a softer emotional sport? Because, I mean, honestly, people on the same team fight like with hands all the time. So it's just emotion. It gets
Gilbert Arenas pulled some pistols out on some people. So
pulled some pistols out.
So I mean,
they crossed them out too.
Yosemite Sam, Pat
Go
Pat.
ahead, get off the ground. Now, one thing that we were kind of joking about off camera, and I even alluded to this on the last episode of the Extra Point. The Horace Grant deal, though, you telling the stewardess to take away my plate. The next time we all board that plane together, wear your parachute, because we're gonna tear that plane up. We're gonna tear that plane up. We're gonna see that, like, we're gonna fight. And Mike is being very cautious with his words right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a lot of viewers last week, and thank all of y'all for viewing. And like, I wanna respect his behind the curtain, Mike. But Mike about that action. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna get into some of the stuff that happened in some bars when we get into it with some SEC fans. Like, you're not taking Mike's meal. I know this. Just trust me on this, y'all.
Well, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, so he was pushing him to the limits. And like I said last time, like
Look, Mike,
you're gonna push.
Mike had to come up out the coat. James Brown.
Let me tell you something.
No.
Let me tell you something. No. I think he was just pushing him to the limits. Yeah, and if you push back and be like, okay, cool, like that's where your boundary is. And he was just pushing his boundaries, honestly.
Yeah, and Shelton says I referee basketball, and the funniest stuff I see is when the same team members fight. Now, like, I get it on the blacktop. If you're not getting it done, your teammate might yoke you up in your collar. Like, hey,
Yeah.
D up, do something. Like, I have no problem with that. I've had like kind bosses. I've had bosses that led by intimidation and fear. Now, us three, the one thing we have in common is we're self-motivated, whether that's by money, whether that's by moving out of the position that we're in to another position, whether that's just the competition of being the best at what we do wherever we're at. I think we're going to just blend into whatever style because we're self-motivated. I can understand, though, what Mike was talking about when he's beating them down on them suicides.
Mm-hmm.
If you berating a teammate, if you feel like it's not giving 100%, and you're beating us all down the court on suicides, and you're one of the oldest players on the team, hey, lead us to the championship, dog.
Right. Right.
I don't want no wussy leader. That I don't want. I don't want no wussy leader.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff by y'all. Now, let me take a deep breath on this one as we transition into a little pig skin. Hold on. Whew. This might get ugly.
Oh.
Ooh. That was communion, y'all. That was communion. This year marks, and this is embarrassing for me to even say this. This year marks the 25th anniversary of the last time the Dallas Cowboys did anything of note, and that was hoisting a Lombardi 25 years ago. My God. There's been over 2 decades of futility and foolishness from America's team since that time. And my question to you all is, let's just start with a simple yes, no, so we can move into the next one. Should Dallas still be called America's team?
That's not an easy yes or no
Really?
question. I don't think.
You don't think so? Okay. What do you think, Mike?
So the first thing that comes to mind is no, like absolutely not.
No,
After
right.
25 years, like that's
Right.
crazy. But then you start breaking it down, and you're like, okay, a couple questions come up, like, okay, if not them, then who? Which is kind of the immediate question. My thought process was New England Patriots past 10 years have been dominant when it comes to football. Now that Tom Brady left, they can't really be America's team anymore because, of course, they're not going to be the same, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So then you think, okay, well, who else could be like a dominant team or consistently dominant and still have a huge fan base? Pittsburgh Steelers. I like the way that their team is built, and when they are strong, they are strong. Even when you think that they're out, they randomly start winning games. You're like, what?
Right.
And then I also think about, could Tampa Bay be possibly like the new America's team? Then like, no, maybe for the retirement homes because that's where Florida people go, or for retired people go. And then the Green Bay Packers come to mind just because they're kind of owned by the public type of thing. And then overall, the way America's team works is revenue based. Everyone
Mhm.
goes off of like, okay, well, Cowboys were considered America's team because of how much television time they got and how much revenue they brought in. Like it made sense. You still look at it right now, and Dallas Cowboys are still the number one when it comes to revenue. So it's hard to fight against that, especially when they're still getting broadcasted games. Um, so I have to go with the numbers, and I have to still say that Dallas Cowboys are.
Wow, from an Eagles fan. Now, before I kick it to you, T Sizzle, Nashville, Tennessee is in the house. Shouts out to Stephanie Coulter, who said no. Stephanie says hell no. And
There you
Cindy
go, Steph.
Clark, Cindy Clark says Patriots took that title. However, I'm sure she's happy to hear you say Green Bay because she's an avid Packer fan and has been one ever since I've known her for 30 years. So Patriots are going to take – oh, that may be a topic for next week, Cindy. Now, Tasha, America's team, yes or no? And if not, who?
I'm going to say no, simply because what kind of what Mike said. You're not winning, so how are you going to be considered America's team and you're not winning? They're only America's team. I do think now it's because of, like he said, they're generating so much revenue because they're worth 1 billion. How much are the Cowboys worth? Does anybody got any Google
Probably
thing?
a little bit more than that.
I mean,
Yeah.
no, not Jerry Jones. I'm talking about the Cowboys because
Oh,
Jerry Jones is
$3 or $4
worth,
billion, yeah.
yeah, um, and like he was saying with the TV, they're on the TV. I mean, their cheerleaders have a mini series that I watch faithfully. They have a
5
mini
billion.
series. That's how much the team is worth. It's 5 billion.
Yeah, 5
Oh,
billion.
okay. Whoa,
Woo!
whoa. Um,
You got that 5G, he pulled that up quick. He got that 5G network.
but I think a lot of times people do watch the Cowboys so they can see them lose, so they can have their jokes and get their joke. Because that's why I watch them. I'm ready to get my jokes off. That's why I think that's why so many people do watch, whether they win or lose. It's because they want to be able to talk about them, whether it's good or bad. But I would say America's team. I mean, you can always say like the Yankees because you said it's in the subject. You can say the Yankees are America's team because people hate the Yankees just as much as they love the Yankees. They hate the Cowboys just the way they love the Cowboys. But if we're keeping it in the pigskin realm, I'm going to say the Steelers or either Green Bay. Like Mike said, Green Bay is publicly owned. The fans, the people own that. Lambeau Field is old. They still have wooden bleachers, wooden seats in Lambeau Field.
Yeah.
So
I think the biggest
to
thing, like for visitors, I haven't seen any other fan base travel so
right,
well than the Cowboys do. And you can go
yeah.
to LA Rams, like there's a ton of Cowboys fans there.
Okay, I'm gonna need you to get
So
another team other than the Rams because anybody's gonna draw more than the Rams. I mean, but
they'll
you
show
like
up anywhere.
right yeah, but I mean, but like with Green Bay, you think how cold it is. It's the frozen tundra, and you still have people coming. You can never get a ticket. It's always full, no matter what the temperature is. To me, I mean, if you're saying, oh, that's what America was built on, blase, blase, that's America's team. And then the Steelers are kind of like that old married couple. Like the Steelers have had what, 4 coaches in their existence. To
Right.
me, that shows. I mean, I can't think of the word, but I mean, it just shows that they're there for you. They're going to be there for you. They're going to support you. That's supposed to be, I guess, an American type thing. And so I would say between the Steelers and the Packers, that if you want to go off of that. But like Mike said, money wise, revenue, you see that star everywhere. It's the Cowboys.
Now, you two have really made compelling arguments to the point to where you changed my answer. My original answer was going to be the Lakers, the Los Angeles Lakers, because of the star power, the Jerry West on the logo. You go from the Jerry West era to the Wilt Chamberlain era to the Showtime Lakers to the Shaq and Kobe Lakers to the Paul Gasol and Kobe Lakers to now they got LeBron. It's like they're going to always be at the forefront, and they're always going to give you all season drama, regardless of who's wearing that purple and gold. But as football goes, you two have convinced me about Green Bay. Now, I love Pittsburgh, and Mike made a great point that you'll never see them picking number 1, number 2, or number 3,
Mm-hmm.
or number 4. You're not going to just stomp that franchise into the ground that low. Like
Right.
they won 8 games last year with their 4th string quarterback. So, like, It's Mike Tomlin. I don't think has ever had a losing record. But when you think of the Green Bay Packers, I'm thinking when you can span generations. You can go back to the Ice Bowl. You go back to the Sterling Sharp days. Then you go to the Brett Favre run. Then now the Aaron Rodgers. They're winning. They win enough titles to stay relevant. Like you said, they're publicly owned. They still have that old school football appeal. They play outside in the element. And they're a team that really you can't just hate unless you're a Bears fan or Minnesota Vikings fan. So like they don't have any, and so like I think that's I agree. You all have switched me on that one. Good job by y'all. Now I'm gonna need you two aficionados, especially when it comes to college. I need y'all to help me with this next topic because I'm literally asking because I don't know and I am confused. And I can't be going on the radio confused. I already told y'all the hit squad be making all the beats. I'll just send an artist in there to start singing the hook. Voila, we got hits. But they make the beats. So I'm gonna pull behind the curtain because this is what I would normally ask them in the off screen, and then I'll come on the radio and act like I figured it all out myself. So the question, we're gonna start with you, Michigan Mike, and I'm gonna lay it out for the people like this. The NCAA and college football, we've been kind of keeping track of this the last few weeks as far as fall sports and college football and when can it start. Some rumblings that some of the major conferences may want to defect and do their own thing. The NCAA losing its grip, this stranglehold as far as power wise over these conferences because of the money these conferences generate aside from the NCAA. Now, NCAA President Mark Emmert, I think I'm saying that right.
Mm-hmm.
He had two different statements this week, and it left me confused. Can y'all help me sort this out? First thing he said was, and this was in correlation to response to the SEC saying being the first ones to say we're gonna play regardless. He said if there's no students on campus, there'll be no student athletes on campus. Basically saying no, the SEC's not gonna just start up whenever they want. They're not gonna do it. If they don't have any students on campus, how can they have
SEC.
on campus? Okay, I was like, okay, so he's drawing his line in the sand and saying no SEC. If y'all don't have classes open, then we're not going to play. Then he says yesterday, well, we're not going to have a unilateral start date for these schools like they would in the NFL or they would in Major League Baseball or Major League Basketball or the NBA. He's going to leave that up to the individual states and the school presidents. I'm confused. So are they saying that the SEC can't start, or they can start if the school president and the governor of their state says we can have games without fans? Can somebody dissect that for me?
Yeah, it's as easy as you tell someone who let's say you're dating someone that makes all the money and in your house and they want to go out and you say, "No, you better not walk out that door." And they walk out the door. You're like, "No, that's cool. Just be, home whenever you want." That's that's kind of what this was. Um, as soon as they started hearing that, different conferences were like, "Okay, well, I guess we'll just have to back away from you." And they're like, "No, I was kidding. I'm just saying, like, y'all can do whatever you want depending on your conference, whatever y'all decide y'all want to do." And I think that's what happened. It sounds like they're scared right now. I smell
That's
blood.
what I was going to say. Mark Emmert don't want that heat.
Please elaborate on that because now that's making a little more sense to me, Mike. Tasha?
Mark Emmert don't want that heat. So because if it fails, he doesn't want them to say, "Well, Mark said we could do it." So he's trying to put the blame off and let everybody else be responsible for their own decisions. That's what he's doing. He wants it to open because the NCAA is what they're money driven. They're making money off of these so-called student athletes. So they want that money. They want that football money to come in. But he
Right.
also doesn't want the blame where if you got, let's say, you saying social distancing. If you got a football player out there sweating, spitting, talking on somebody, that's gonna pass it. That's gonna pass it throughout the team. It's gonna pass it throughout the university. Mark Emmert does not want that dark cloud hanging over his head.
But you're saying, but he does want that CBS money, that
Yes,
ESPN money,
he
that
wants
NBC
that
money
money.
to Notre Dame.
He wants that Longhorn network money, that Big
Right.
Ten network money, He wants it all, but he doesn't want to be held accountable if something goes wrong. So that's why he's leaving. Oh, if the SEC, oh yeah, they can play if the states say they can play, because I didn't say y'all could play. I said do whatever you like.
Right. I like. Stephanie says that's a way to avoid accountability by making an executive decision. And he should also be on your next "Shut the Hell Up" segment.
Yes.
Mark, Stephanie, you just gave me an idea because you two, thank you, because I was really confused and I was wondering what I was missing on that. But you're right. This is a way to get football back into the fold, to get those TV dollars, but not have any accountability. Well, you need to talk to Michigan's president if half the students wind up with COVID-19 and the
Mm-hmm.
parents are coming up there yanking them out of school now in the middle of the, you know what I'm saying? If it leads to something of that nature, put that on the individual. This is why the NCAA needs to just go on somewhere.
Go
If
on.
you
Yeah.
got the schools, let them do their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Look at Mike grinning because he was like, I was right about that all along.
I mean, you just got to let the schools do what, like you said, do what they want to do. Accountability would be on them. They have to decide what their good testing would be before you practice, before you play, before you come inside the facility. Like everyone else is doing it, why not them?
Mm-hmm.
Plus, Mark Emmert, I kind of agree with you, Stephanie. Like, Mark, shut the hell up. It's May. It's the beginning of May. We have June, July, and August before like fall practice starts, to where you really have a better gauge on what's going on with society, what's going on with these shelter in place orders, what's going on over on the West Coast, where California is much worse than it is in Texas or Tennessee. You know, the Vols in Michigan, you know, they may be able to play, the Longhorns may be able to play, but California, that might be a whole different deal because of what's going on out there. So,
I
Yeah.
mean, and you look at the whole Cal State college system has already said they're not going to have classes for the fall semester. That's your San Diego states, that's your Fresno states.
oh
Those are
wow,
schools like that because they're not going to even have classes. Everything's going to be online. So what if they were, let's say if a Pac-12 team was in that system? What would you do?
Well, that's what they said. They were talking about how they just want to do a Pac-12 only schedule, and so
And they
now they're
need
talking.
to because nobody's watching Pac-12. Sorry.
Exactly. Well, the first game, the first game is pretty significant as far as like powerhouses, USC
Yeah.
versus Alabama. That'll be a good game. But
right? But hold on, but Michigan opens the season on the West Coast against Washington.
yeah, that'll be a great game.
Oh, that's the old Rose Bowl matchup right there.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, Warren Moon against Anthony
Elvis
Crawford.
Gerbach.
Elvis Gerbach. Tell something to Elvis Gerbach. I'm glad we segue into Michigan. Tasha, can you put a little thing on your shirt there so everybody can see how you're repping
Oh,
this?
it says game. Oh, wait a minute. You know my wait. Oh, wait a minute. I'm not drunk.
Oh Lord,
Game
never mind. Bella got the camera. Never mind.
game over name. I'm trying to hold my iPad. That's why I got my iPad. I'm trying to hold it on
Bella,
my lap.
that's okay. Put you in the court, Bella.
Game over name. And then I got my, see my bandana, Michigan, go blue.
She's go
Trademark.
blued up. Now, we got to talk Michigan. If I'm on here with two Michigan aficionados, and we didn't get to talk about this last week, and I'm dying to get y'all's thoughts on this. Last Thursday evening, I believe it was, Jim Harbaugh, he went on he made national news because he penned a letter to the college football community proposing that the players should have the right to go to the NFL whenever they like, and if they don't get drafted, they should have the ability to come back to their school, provided they did not accept money from said agent if they have eligibility left. We'll start with you, Michigan Mike. What do you think about that? Do you think that makes good? Is that a good thing, a bad thing? What are your thoughts?
I think it's a good thing, especially for us, especially having all those Michigan players towards the end of the draft.
Right.
They can kind of be in like, do I really want to take this, or should I try to build up my resume a little bit more? And even if they get drafted the sixth round or whatever, just decline it, don't accept anything, come back to college. Definitely benefit Michigan. I think this is just another ploy to push the boundaries of the NCAA and start asking for more and asking for more. I'm telling you, everyone smells blood right now, so everyone's coming up with these different ideas.
So you think that maybe there's a bigger thing in play as far as another step towards a defection from the NCAA?
Yeah, I definitely think so. It's almost like school bully, and they got their leg hurt, and so everyone's just randomly pushing them in the hallway.
Right, everybody and
Everyone's
now,
just taking jabs now. So I think it is. It's coming towards the end. I mean, it's not going to happen like in a year or 2 years. It might happen in 5 or 10 years, but it's coming.
think about that. 5 years is not that long when you're thinking
No.
about the history of the NCAA. That you're on the clock then, NCAA. Tasha, what say you?
First of all, you keep saying defecting like they're coming from Cuba to play baseball or something.
You stop it.
But I think it's I'm very happy to be here. No, but I think it's a good. I've always thought that because you think about all these guys, and we've talked about this in the past, who throw their name in the NBA draft. The NBA is only 2 rounds now,
Right.
and these guys don't get drafted. After they don't get drafted, what do they have left? Nothing, because their eligibility is gone. They cannot go back to school. I mean, and so what? The agent has given them, some tennis shoe money, some sneaker money, some gym shoe money. That's not enough to take care of anything once you've lost your college eligibility.
Right. That's what you give a
So,
sidekick. Tennis shoe money.
I mean, it's like, and then how do you prevent them from signing with an agent? Because you're going to need that agent to try to guide you and tell you, hey, this is what we need to do. This is where you're going to go. This is where you're not going to go. You need someone to tell you that. So you have to go with an agent. And we all know,
Yeah,
they're getting some hush money.
right. Well, we just saw Tua Tagovailoa just got his mom one of those big old suburban SUVs
About an Escalade. She got an Escalade.
And then that was some front money from the agent.
Well, he's also signed his contract too. I don't know how much
he
it was.
did, but the NFL hadn't paid him yet.
Well,
it ain't like like Uber where you hit cash out now and it just goes into your account.
Right. But it's also funny how baseball players can get drafted out of high school but can still go to college and play sports. So they're not losing their eligibility.
Right.
And they don't have an agent. They don't have anybody at that time. So I mean, I think if it's talent and if they want that talent, they should be able to draft these guys in whatever sport it is without these guys losing their eligibility, because somebody may have given you the wrong advice. You could have had a bad tryout and somebody says, oh, he can't shoot, oh, he's terrible, he can't do this, he can't do that, and they lose everything off of a split-second decision because somebody gave them bad advice.
Right. To me, I'm with whatever helps us beat Ohio. I'm with whatever helps us beat Ohio. If this helps us beat Ohio, they sophomores, their 5-star freshmen get out of here and go to the pros. You'll get drafted in the 7th round, be Mr. Irrelevant, and lose your eligibility. Goodbye, good riddance. That way we can build up a program without the pressure of playing catch up.
Mm-hmm.
And just do our thing. I'm sick of these ESPN replays where we're coming out on the short end of the stick.
Yes, I thought it was just me. I said, "Oh, ESPN monkey for this." I said, "Why are they showing this game?"
Right.
I was looking on. I said, I ain't watching this today."
He was short.
They our national championship losses, and every time we lose to Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, I want to end this one, this week's episode, with a hypothetical to both Michigan Mike and T Sizzle. Now, I'm sure y'all saw the footage this week because it's been everywhere. But 53-year-old Mike Tyson is back in the ring and ready to make a comeback. When he says he's ready to make a comeback for charity. Let me squeeze them in there. Charity right there for charity.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan Mike, we're gonna start with this question, or yes or no. Would you pay like premium pay-per-view price to see Mike Tyson in the ring fighting somebody at age 53? From what you saw from his workout tape.
If it was just him, there wasn't any other fights before that.
Well, I'm sure they have like a little undercard or whatnot, but that's
well, that depends on the undercard. Then I would have to look into that.
Because those undercards would be like 2 hours long.
Yeah.
2 or 3 hours
if it
long.
was, then I would. Just because. Yeah, I mean, I know it's not going to be the same as how he was in the prime, but he did look pretty quick and powerful, and I just wanted to see him punch somebody, honestly.
Right.
Without biting their ear off.
Yes. So I would.
Tasha?
I'm with Mike because I go to bed, and by the time they done had all these undercard bouts and the guys out there boxing with the little skirts on and the boots with the fringe on the top.
You say apple bottom jeans with the boots with the furs?
I just need to be Mike out there fighting whoever. But I've always been a big Mike Tyson fan. I thought that he got the raw deal, throughout life. And I like Mike Tyson. So yeah, I'm watching him.
Now we're gonna have to pick that up next week because I totally disagree that he got a raw deal.
Yeah, but you'll be in my living room watching it.
Who, me?
Mike had bad advice. He had bad advice.
I want to watch
People
it.
telling
I'm
him
staying
stuff.
up to midnight and beyond to watch that. Yes, I would pay to see it. And it's not just COVID related because there's no live sports right now. I would want to see it. Succotash. Oh, don't do that. Everybody. I want to see it because it looked like he was killing that trainer.
Yeah.
But
it's not enough. It's not enough helmets, not enough chest plates for me to get in there and spar with Mike Tyson. I'm sorry, it's not gonna happen.
Which brings me to our walk-off question. But the trainer, if you turn the TV up real loud, you hear him going. So, I said that the pads wasn't working.
Wait, I think it's broken. This pad don't work. It ain't on right.
Right. He looked like when Tommy Hitman Hearns was on Martin.
No, it looked like when Daffy Duck used to get his beak spun around on the cartoon. And they used to open his beak up and his head would be sticking out the beak.
His beak sitting over. Okay, Mike. Right, okay, Mike. Here's the question. How much would it take financially for you to get in the ring for 1 minute with the Mike Tyson we saw this week on that training video?
1 minute. Let's just call it a match because I'm only gonna last less than 1 minute. So let's just not put it to 1 minute. I'm gonna call it a match because I'm gonna get as much money as I can. I'm gonna estimate that he gets probably 1 million from his full match, something around there. I don't know how much he's gonna get, 1 to 2 million. So I'll take 10% of what he gets.
What?
I'm gonna take 100. I'm gonna take 100,000.
Mike, you a soldier and a thug.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, Tasha, you're basically what I would still call in the newlywed phase. You're newlywed. How much would it take for your husband to come to you and say, Tasha, I've been offered this large sum of money to get in the ring with Mike for 1 round, no pads, just like a regular boxer. I just gotta just go ahead and take these hits. How much money would it have to be for you to say, okay, and I'm gonna stand over there like Gina and Pam when Martin did his fight with Hitman?
Well, seeing how we really need some extra paper right about now. With the move happening and all.
He ain't watching.
I love Gino, so I don't know if I would feel safe. I mean, you've seen pictures of my husband's a pretty big guy, but he's no Mike Tyson. My husband's in shape, but he's no Mike Tyson.
No guns in the boot either.
Right. So you said no guns. I mean, I wouldn't feel safe with my husband in there, but my husband being him would be like, oh yeah, I can get in there. I could take a couple of punches for a cool $5 million.
Oh dang.
Oh yeah, well you're gonna have to pay us to get our ass beat.
I still think that's too low. Like for me, I'm gonna need 50 million for 1 round. I'm gonna need $50 million.
If I'm gonna come out with lumps, like you said, like Martin, with lumps all on me,
and I'm laying in the wall talking about, I don't want to fight no more. I don't want to fight no more.
And again, like on Looney Tunes, you see the stars and feel like did the anvil just fall on me? Like you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
Here's why I would need 50 million. I'm gonna need 10 for me, so I can have like a Victoria's Secret type of nurse to feed me through my straw. Because I'm gonna have to have my own plane You can roll me up in the wheelchair and take me on my bucket list tour. I'll get all the great seats at the big house. I'll be right front center at the Super Bowl, sitting right next to the Make-A-Wish kids. So I need that money, and then I'll give 10 million to my mom, or 10 million to my sister, 10 million to my nephew, and then I'll just like donate 10 million to brain research because I'll be knocked silly. So
And you're gonna need the best colostomy bag available.
right, I'm gonna need 24-hour care.
I'm just gonna sit there and just pee and defecate on myself. I ain't going nowhere. I got beat up by Mike.
I'm doing it. I'm not doing it. Like I'm not getting in there. That trainer was wincing with the flak jacket on.
He was.
And that's what I'll be wearing too.
Right, Mike come in there with one, like he go in there like how those dads get in the pool with their kids with the shirt on.
Looking like He-Man.
You're gonna need that sword from He-Man. You get in there with Mike. But ladies and gentlemen, that does it for another episode of the Extra Point After Dark. You can catch us here on Hump Days. You know how we get down. On behalf of the esteemed crew, because last time when I tried to tell them to farewell, they just started looking out the window. So like, let's try this again. Tasha, you want to sign off to the people?
Peace out, folks. Happy Hump Day.
Miguel?
Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for viewing.
And we'll give you a salute and a go blue. We'll see y'all next week.
Go blue.